is Alex Ladan, and I stand for peace and not for violence.
Okay, back to being a younger generation person. Someone once called the Nigerian youth lazy. Do you agree with that? And he's from the older generation. Secondly, do you believe that the older generation are hardworking? If the younger generation are said to be lazy, do you believe that? And do you also believe that the older generation are hardworking? What's your take on that?
So let me make it very straight. Let's call a spade a spade. President Buhari, made this statement. The Nigerian youth, are lazy. And I found that very indicting on his own path, because it simply tells of their own failure. Because if you're a father, you have a lifetime to raise children. All the values that you would want to see in them, all the discipline, and so on and so forth. That's why, you restrain them. They don't do just as they wish. And the whole idea is to build capacity in them. So it's actually the responsibility of a parent to be able to raise a child to do better, to outlive or outperform his own records. And so if you have not been able to do that, then it tells you have failed in your own responsibility. And for me, that is uncalled for. It's not the truth. And you must also, permit me to say, look at it from the perspective of what you have caused these people to become, that you call lazy. If somebody is only relevant to you when you need a tug, in politics, then it tells that you're reducing him, you're dehumanizing him, and you're causing him to live below his potentials. And in the end, you call him a lazy person because the tuggery benefits you. So we don't want to look at this statement because it's appalling, it is sad, it is unfortunate, that you would expect. I cannot call my child a lazy person. I cannot, even if he appears to be so. Because I'm sowing a seed in him, and I'm going to cause him to grow up believing, because anything coming from me means a lot to him. So if you are truly a responsible father, you would like to speak words that your children will hear and then tomorrow know that I've got the backing of my father. But then the point is, how many years down the line? Nigeria as a country is 62 years now. 62 years of being ruled by the same people that are calling us lazy. So it's a whole lot of discussion. This thing.
So the older generation are not as hardworking as they claim to be, or what is your take?
I don't like generalizing.
Okay.
I really don't like that. There are elders that I respect so much.
Okay.
There are elders that have lived their whole life, pouring their lives, to the betterment of this nation. And I have a lot of honor and respect for them. But yet, we have a bunch that don't care about us. We have a bunch that are very okay with the state of things because it's benefiting them. We have a bunch that don't seem to believe in us. As far as they are concerned, we're children and we will forever remain children. They don't think we are capable of leading. And it's simply because it just benefits them. And we have a bunch that have actually orchestrated and marshaled the way for this nation to remain where it is. So that's why it's difficult for me to just generalize, and likewise, even the young. Yes, we're not saying that all of us are the same. There are people who have been a bit laid back. There are people, like I was categorizing earlier on, and I talked about those who are willing to just jump in, and then those who are still contemplating and then those who are tools in the hands of these, bunch that have kept us where we are. So I think that just settles it for me.
Okay, okay. All right. This also means that those youths that are into so many evil vices is probably caused by what has been laid down before them. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I must say here that no matter how prosperous a society is, you still have one or two people that are hell-bent on just taking the wrong direction. So that is not to entirely say that the moment you have all working for you, then you are not going to have, any sort of social vice. But in the case of Nigeria, if you interrogate some of the perpetrators of these evil acts, who are mostly young people, you would always narrow it down to the inability to feed themselves, inability to care for themselves, to make life, meaning out of their own lives. So those kind of situations, it plays a huge role in cutting down the level of crime in any society. When people are gainfully engaged, naturally they know where to go to. I do mining business, and I know that we have about 35 guys working with us. Now, my joy, at the end of the day, is seeing that they are engaged. I can tell you with every sense of responsibility that I take more joy in seeing that these guys would wake up and know exactly where to go to, and will be engaged doing that work for the whole day, as opposed to them just waking up and wandering about and being very vulnerable, susceptible to all kinds of vices. That gives me more satisfaction than even the profit I make.
Wow.
So it simply tells that if government provides the right kind of leadership, then surely we will have space for everyone, because the system is large enough to contain all of us. And the idea is for all of us to contribute our quota. So if you provide a job, you're giving someone the opportunity to step in and contribute his own quota in nation building. So one, we're denying these guys the opportunity to bring their own flavor to the system. We're denying them, the opportunity to earn a living from the Commonwealth. And yet, we still expect that there will be, how do you do that? It's unfortunate.
Okay, I was going to ask you what you were doing to contribute for the betterment of Nigeria. You have started by telling me one.
Hello people, my name is Alex Ladan, and I would like to counsel and advise and recommend Talk Your Own TV to you. Please subscribe. You will have a lot of content that will be very educating, very, very engaging, and of course it will help you to see it from a perspective that will help better a lot of our society. Thank you.
Are there other things you're doing to make Nigeria a better place?
Absolutely. So I said something earlier that we didn't step into politics for the positions, but we stepped into politics from the perspective of leadership. And that is very important, because if you're in politics with leadership in the center of what you're doing, then you're not so bothered about what the typical political setting presents. Naturally, a leader would always be a leader, whether in government or out of government. And one of the things we noticed, having contested 2019, is we stepped out, we went round, we engaged communities, we had discussions, town hall meetings, and in the end, we were able to feel the pulse of the people. And we had plans. But we didn't win. And so it will not be fair to say, okay, because you didn't win, you should go back and wait until you win before you actualize those plans. I think it's a message I would like to strongly pass across to politicians and even to voters, to begin to demand from people, some sort of accountability. And so we came after the elections, mobilized ourselves, and said, look, we can't wait until we are in government before we do something. What are some of those things that we're hoping to do? How do we do them? How do we go about doing those things? And that's how the Alex Ladan Foundation came about, just to provide us with that legal platform where we are able to step out and engage society. And I can tell you, one of the things we noticed is our people, a very good number of our people are facing a challenge with sight. Sight, just eyesight, a very major issue. I know back in the days, if anyone complains of sight, that person must be advanced in age. Yeah. But today you have young people having difficulty reading, having difficulties seeing, and all kinds of eye-related diseases. So what we did was we've been able to go around, and we're still going around. And so far we've distributed I think about 4,250 eyeglasses.
Wow.
And treated like 8,000 people. It's our own little way of saying, look, we can do this together, and see our intention, see our hearts. It's not so much about the office, it's about the leadership. And that's what we've been doing. Of course, we have also trained and still training leaders, because one of Nigeria's major issues is leadership. As I can tell you, if we're able to fix leadership problem, then we have fixed the problem of Nigeria. And we are engaged, in training leaders, raising young leaders, sharing perspectives from them, with them, and getting them to see the need to get involved in the process.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are still going to come back to you on a later date for more updates. If you really want to know if Honorable Alex Ladan will continue in politics, stay tuned to Talk Your Own TV. Before we go, in conclusion, what will you like to leave with Nigerians, the younger generation, and people all over the world? Just briefly.
Well, I love this country with the whole of my heart. It's the only country that God has given us. It is our responsibility to tend it. It's our responsibility to grow it. It's our responsibility to make it habitable for all of us. And it's our responsibility to make it the envy of many nations. And I want to strongly believe that that responsibility lies on particularly the young people. We cannot permit ourselves to be used as tools in the hands of very selfish people who would want to take advantage of the many good things that God has done to us, the wealth that we have, to better their own lot at the expense of the rest of us. My advice to my fellow young people is please, 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 from the bottom of my heart, I beg you, do not permit yourself to be a tool in the hands of selfish people, particularly selfish politicians, because we have a nation to build. And you will also have your own children. You wouldn't want your children to wake up and curse you for refusing to take responsibility. And so please, I urge you, the leadership that we need can only come from you. And so you better prepare yourself, better own up, and better take responsibility so we can have the Nigeria of our dreams. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
It's been an honor having you on Talk Your Own TV, and we look forward to doing more with you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.